So my name is Nitesh. I am founder of 1.21 Gigawatts. We are a tech media platform. We organize webinars, conferences, and trainings. I would like to introduce my company, 1.21 Gigawatts. So this webinar is organized by 1.21 Gigawatts. As you can see, the name has been inspired from the famous movie Back to the Future, where it was shown that you needed 1.21 gigawatts of energy to go to the future. So this is what we aspire. We intend to provide the knowledge that is needed in the future workforce, and that is what the topic of this webinar is, Intelligent Digital Workforce. We arrange company meetups worldwide, and we serve as community platforms for industry collaboration. We are well connected with industry experts and thought leaders, and we bring them to the industry, which helps the industry to make their employees more productive in the organization. As a company, the vision of 1.21 gigawatts is to transform thoughts to accelerate success. Some of the things that we do are organizing guest lectures for universities, for corporates, on any of emerging topics and processes. We do conferences, trainings, webinars. We organize corporate quiz, and we also organize corporate awards. For robotic process automation, we have a global platform called rpaconferences.com. In this, you can see some of the latest happenings, news, views, articles, interviews of thought leaders, some of the next schedule of conferences on robotic process automation, and it's a global platform. We have over 10,000 robotic process automation community across the industries. We work closely with the major industry players in robotic process automation, and we help the companies know how to automate using robotics, and we also help them to connect with the right vendors. Some of the next events where we are doing RPA Summit is in Auckland, Chicago, and Singapore on 14th of September. We are also doing a World RPA Summit in Bangalore and San Jose. In October, we are doing the event in Atlanta, New York, and Toronto. Apart from conferences, some of the areas where we work on is also training. So we have online trainings which you can join. So we have 4 trainings with us. These are all online, self-paced, instructor-led trainings. Essentials of RPA for 8 hours. Robotic process automation using UiPath for 30 hours. This is a very hands-on session. RPA via Blue Prism, another 30 hours, a very hands-on session, and RPA via Automate Anywhere for 30 hours. So these are our training programs. And what you get, anybody who is attending this webinar will be getting 25% discount on the published price, which can easily save you up to $500, which is great. And thanks once again for everyone who has joined this webinar. On that note, I would like Vivek to introduce himself, and we will be having a chat with Vivek on what's happening with UiPath. So over to you, Vivek. Can we have you introduce yourself?
Yes, Nitesh, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be part of this webinar, as well as the great organization, all the good work you're doing in the space of RPA. Again, my name is Vivek Malhotra. I'm a New York-based customer success director. A little bit on my background. I come to UiPath after spending over 20 years in different industries and different roles. In the most recent role, I was part of a digital transformation of one of the business where I worked with Deloitte internally. to pretty much revamp the whole audit practice. Sorry. Now, I come with a lot of experience developing solutions using custom applications. And for the last 8 months, I've been working with UiPath. My key responsibilities there are really enabling customers, implementing RPA solutions, setting up their COEs, specifically using UiPath platform. That's a little bit of my background. I've worked with AIG, Honeywell, Ernst & Young, as well as the last project, last employer was Deloitte before coming to UiPath. Thank you for introducing me, Nitesh.
Thanks, Vivek, for your introduction. So Vivek, one of the questions that usually gets asked around, in our conference and various RPA community is how does UiPath describes robotic process automation and what key problems UiPath is solving for the industry?
Yeah, that's a good question. I thought before we jump into how UiPath is solving some of the problems, there are many definitions of RPA, but I thought this was pretty comprehensive definition of RPA, or intelligent digital workforce, which is relevant for this particular webinar. So I thought, sharing this particular definition from CIO magazine by Clint, which came out not too long ago, and I think it summarizes what RPA is, what is it trying to solve, what problem it's trying to really embrace our customers, and also how, and we will share what the UiPath is doing to get to the intelligent part of it, how UiPath sees the machine learning and the AI plays a role in RPA. So, I thought, this definition for audience of this webinar is pretty relevant. And to answer your second question, how UiPath is solving, what problems they are solving, and I think this is a very simple representation of how UiPath sees automation could be needed in the industry or with our customers. And this is purely based on working with different customers, how they see RPA is done. So coming back to RPA's definition of automating some of the routine tasks which are performed by individuals, and how UiPath sees this industry is evolving and where we play a role. Now, some of these terminologies may be familiar to our audience and some may not be. So just to give what attended and unattended, I see those two terminology I would like to share, is that many of these tasks today performed by people can be done having no interaction with the system. Once you have automated your process, they just run without any further interaction with the systems. So what we call it is unattended. And there may be other tasks where you might need a human to start a transaction an automated transaction and complete that transaction. Once the transaction is completed, the human takes over. So we divide what we see is how our customer sees to utilize RPA program is you have processes which are automated end-to-end, requires no intervention from human, and they just run. And they run 24/7 depending on your transaction. Now, the second type is where, there may be some things needs to be done by a person. Once that part of the transaction is completed by person, then remaining portion can be done unattended. And then the third one I'll just touch on quickly is really a productivity improvement type of processes where human is performing a transaction and certain part is so routine, so mundane, can be automated. And the human presses a button and it just performs that action, and then the human takes over the next part of that transaction. And, the next number 4 is attended processes initiated by human run in parallel with what the human is doing today. And so, this is how we see RPA could be utilized to truly improve the productivity of an organization, and at individual level, definitely productivity of individuals.
Thanks, Vivek. Thanks for the wonderful introduction and sharing with us the 5 automation scenarios. Hope everyone is able to hear us. If you have any questions, please use the chat box. We will be taking the questions immediately after our chat with Vivek. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing Vivek, who is a Customer Success Director at UiPath, so for all those who have just recently joined. So, Vivek, what are the technology landscape for RPA implementation, and where does UiPath fit in?
Yeah, Nitesh, I think that's let me just share one slide on that. And I think in order for any vendor in the RPA space to make our customers successful, truly has to play in a wide variety of technologies. Now, technologies where we might want to automate our processes, we play a pretty big role in automating, whether they are mainframe systems, legacy systems, web-based systems, data integration systems. So that's one aspect of what automated RPA was when some of these products started to build. However, if you look at our landscape today, what we see is this is our ecosystem where we will play, and we are currently playing a big role in both from automating the systems as well as utilizing the best of the best breed of software packages available in the marketplace. The way we look at it, I'll just touch on 2 specific items here. One is the machine learning and deep learning. Now, there are so many products who are specialized in this particular space. There is no point for UiPath to build its own deep learning, machine learning systems. However, what we see is creating an open platform so we can utilize the best of the breed softwares available in the marketplace. So we are open platform, and we can integrate with any of the technologies. A few of them are listed here. However, we are open to we are open platform. We can integrate with others which may not be listed here. So technology point of view, we are pretty widespread and taking advantage of what is available in the marketplace.
Thanks, Vivek. Vivek, as an industry platform, we are realizing that there's tremendous interest among the companies to partner with the RPA vendors, and many companies are adopting UiPath as its partner in their journey to automate their processes. So what typically has been critical success factors for any RPA adoption based on your experience during your interaction with the client?
Yeah, Nitesh, so this might be a little longer answer than the shorter answer I want to give. What I want to share is, how UiPath sees what enterprise needs. Before we get to, what kind of use cases people are trying to utilize RPA or UiPath product. And what we see is in order for enterprise to adopt any platform, and UiPath, I hope that UiPath is a chosen platform for many of your audience. And what we see is that these are the 5 pillars. Without these 5 pillars, you cannot really have a platform which truly solves the business problems. We talked a little bit about open platform. I will touch on next to rapid results and paths to AI a little bit more in deeper in this session. But I do want to touch just on this slide is scalability and security. UiPath is all set from security point of view. We have, as it mentions here, 14 United States government agencies, including NASA, is our customer, and they had a very extensive review of our products, especially on security, and they chose UiPath. And scalability is the other one. As organizations starts to deploy, automate more and more processes, we feel that scalability in the platform needs to be built from ground up, keeping in mind scalability. Some of the attributes are listed here, but you can go beyond that, like cloud deployment of our product is built right from the scratch, a cloud in mind. You can not only deploy our systems in cloud, but also interact with the system on-prem as well as in cloud, depending on the choice of the customer. Now, the 2 things I want to cover, and it might take a few seconds, which we feel is equally important once you have open platform scalability built in, and the security is the rapid results and path to AI. Let's jump into these 2 topics. Coming back to rapid results, the way we see this case to work is we need to have a platform which you can use for fast implementation, ease of bot design, robot design, automation design, quick to develop, require some level of coding, but I won't say no coding, but some level of coding, but not a whole lot. Also, we have a platform for free online training. We want to make sure that our platform is available to large community, and we are truly democratizing the RPA space. The reason we feel this is important is we want to make sure the customers and the developers and the customers, the businesses are seeing the value as quickly as possible. We do have a free community edition you can download and you can use that, but most importantly is what we want to make sure is it increases the user enablement, reducing technical skills required, fast implementation, deployment of processes as quickly as possible, and decrease the complexity. Integration, we want to make sure that not only we can automate some of the out-of-the-box softwares, which are written in more modern languages, but also your legacy application, including mainframes. Ease of use, that's a key component of that. So we want to make sure that the product is easy to use and deploy. So that's one part, and the second part I just want to share is what we see is how we think the path to AI is. the way we look is AI opportunities are, I'm just going to open up all the bullet items here. Unlocking AI opportunities started when the product was originally built, was the computer vision. It is a proprietary technology, how we recognize different objects on screens, including, as it mentions, mainframe system and others. And it was built in mind as if a human is looking at these elements. So that was our stepping stone, getting into RPA space from UiPath side of it. But this is how we see progression of RPA in AI. Computer vision, as humans sees the different objects, we want to make sure the product is built keeping that in mind so the product recognizes different objects, no different than the human being would do. Next level we see is machine learning. The part of machine learning is about using mistakes to make future decisions, means starting to react to as if the human is doing. So machine learning capability is an efficient validation engine that was important, enabling accuracy experience to be fed to our algorithm at scale. For example, if you have an invoice application, the employees can recognize similar elements on different format of invoices without any, if they are able to recognize those, invoice number is on one invoice on the top right, another maybe top left, or somewhere else on the field. On the invoice, we have built utilizing OCR technologies in very much in the similar way, where we can train our model to start to recognize different elements on different format, just like invoicing and process. So what does it do is the overhead over a period would be low. So if the invoice format change, you have to train your model, not necessarily reprogram your RPA solution. As this progresses, we want to interact with the natural language processing technologies to make sure that we start to recognize, just like human does. It's really computer vision, what you see. Machine learning, you learn based on your historical data. Language, start to recognize the different languages, paradigms, and react from that. And finally, that includes like chatbots. The customers are implementing chatbots where natural language keywords are being processed to perform business transactions, and we want to be in that space. And the final is taking all these different components of human vision, machine learning in general, language, start to reason and start to make decisions. So this is our roadmap to how we see the intelligent portion of digital workforce we will play in. Just one more slide just to show where we are on landscape with all the other vendors, and these are because of the 5 pillars as I shared what the platform should look like. And we have achieved that fairly quickly. In last year we were number 3, and now this year we are number 1 on Forrester Wave report, which came out last month. Nitesh, to answer your second question, what are the typical set of processes people are trying to automate? This is somewhere you need to start, and what we are seeing is a huge adoption in this space. I just listed some of the areas. I'm pretty sure your audience can review and look at it where, what areas they feel from this automation might be a stepping stone. Vivek?
Right, Vivek. Thanks, first of all, congratulations to the UiPath team for taking the leadership role as per the Forrester report. That's a wonderful achievement and some great companies there. For those who have joined late, welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts webinar. We are having a chat session with Mr. Vivek Malhotra. He is Customer Success Director at UiPath, and we just discussed some of the technology landscape as well as how UiPath is helping the companies to automate their processes. Vivek, how does UiPath measure success of any RPA program? Is there any framework? I'm more talking from the point of view of an end user company, and from their perspective, how can they know that they have been reasonably successful in their RPA implementation?
And so this is in order to be successful, you must answer this question. Let me just a little bit on some of the companies who are using our platform, and we have discussed the similar questions what you just asked. What makes it a RPA success? So before what we have done is from UiPath side and also working with many industry leaders to learn this thing, where and how RPA could be successful in their business space. And what we did is, we consolidated into two different buckets. Before you start to do your measurement, are you successful? You need to come up with your drivers. What makes a RPA successful for your organization? So some of them are listed here. People can read. There are business values. There is operational values. Now, I'm just going to give you a quick example of how companies view RPA adding a huge value to employee morale in an organization, actually in a country. We have a great study done by one of our customer in Japan. One might say, what is the reason for adopting RPA in Japan? And if you do a little bit more research on this, Nitesh, you will find the workforce in Japan is shrinking and shrinking very fast. Death rate is higher than the birth rate, but however, the business transaction volumes are not decreasing. So what does that mean is that the people who are currently employed or are able to work are performing over 10, 12, 15 hours a day trying to do their job. So one of the bank took an initiative using RPA, giving incentives to their employees if they can automate part of their day using RPA solution, and they chose UiPath as their platform. And whatever number of hours they will save by automating their day job, they can take it back to, they can leave early from work and go home, enjoy with their family. That's a great story to tell. It's not only always about reducing headcount or increasing utilization of your existing workforce. This is another way to look at it, the social impact RPA has on society. It's a great story. However, there are a lot of other factors in our world, you can utilize to drive your business for RPA. And the one more slide on the framework, but also I'll come back to the framework, and then you need to have the implementation to see, are you truly successful in meeting those business or operational goals? Some of the measurements I have mentioned on this slide. People can take a look at it.
Thanks, Vivek. Request the audience to, ask any questions via the chat box. We'll be taking the questions from the audience in the next 5 minutes. Vivek, I was talking to one of the leading RPA champion, from the industry, and one of the concerns they shared was on security and access management when it comes to RPA. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I think I briefly touched on security as part of the UiPath platform. The framework, when we do any technology evaluation, we get hung up on just the technology. In this case, let's say UiPath. What does UiPath do? To me, I think the organization needs to look at from the multiple dimensions to ensure that any platform you are bringing in to solve a business problem and you're deploying it in your environment. And these are some of the dimensions very specific to RPA, but it can be utilized anywhere. One, you need to look at the product, UiPath. What are the controls available within UiPath that it is secure platform? UiPath is Veracode compliant, certified by Veracode, and other security agencies. So the product itself is secure. Now, what else you need to look at is the other dimension, which are softly connected with the UiPath product. Other one is the data. There are things you need to ensure the data created or consumed by UiPath. How secure is that information? All the passwords are encrypted in memory and at rest. I mean, it could be as simple as that. And are there facilities built into the product to ensure data is protected and protected from any, the hackers are much smarter than you and I, so they figured it out, what the leaks are. They try to steal whatever is available. So the customers need to make sure their data is protected by the product, whether they're at rest or generated by the product is secure. There may be some logs you're generating. Make sure they are protected from any kind of a leak there. The other one is the robots. They are executing in your platform, and they are not performing an unintended side effects. So you need to make sure once you are executing this process, the automations, that no unintended work is performed by the robots. And this is a big concern, because if you look at it, if somebody is trying to intentionally or unintentionally trying to delete data from a system, and if it is performed by human, it will take time. It doesn't. You can't perform at light. You cannot perform that task at a lightning speed. However, once you put it in a robot's hand, it performs a much faster pace. So you need to make sure there are checks and balances when you're building your system, where robots are executing. They are controlled in such manner that no unintended side effects happen. And finally is the enterprise assets. If you add up all these things, it is secure enough to protect the enterprise assets, whether it's employee information, is any access to any of the internal assets performed by these products, and they are protected. So the way we look at it, the security, and I think some of these considerations might be applicable to all, some maybe not. So don't focus just on the platform, but you need to look at the security as a whole.
Great. Thanks, Vivek. We have a few questions, which I'm getting on my chat. It's sent directly to me. So one of the question is, it's from Varu, and he is trying to draw a connect between RPA and DevOps methodology. So he's asking, what is the major value added in RPA when compared to DevOps method? Do you see it's a fair comparison? What's your take on it?
Yeah, so let me try to rephrase this question and make sure I understand correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Are we saying, can we use RPA technology for IT automation in DevOps environment? If that's what the question is, let me answer that, and then maybe Varun can clarify. I would do a complete evaluation of this particular need for using UiPath, let's say, for DevOps. I would say it's not the right place. There are better products and in that space like Jenkins and Jenkins I know very well, that is used in DevOps and is great for performing IT automation. If you look at where RPA has been placed, is really performing business transactions. Now, can you use it for DevOps? You can try to use it. You might get some success initially, but my suggestion would be to look at products like Jenkins for DevOps type of implementation.
Thanks, Vivek. Anybody else who have a question, please shoot in. I would request Santosh or Vivek to check their chat box in case anyone has sent a question to them directly.
Let me see.
If not, I have the next question ready with me.
Okay, let's do that while we look through this.
Okay, so this question is more from the career point of view, Vivek. There has been enormous interest in RPA professionals, and for those who wants to enter into this profession, what do you suggest? What's the avenues available for them? How can they enter? What are the typical RPA related designations that you see are emerging in the market?
Yeah, I think this is the conversation about how do you set up your center of excellence. The roles, Nitesh, are very similar to any IT deployment, but it is a new roles for sure. And I would say, if you are a good business analyst, so let's talk about some of the roles. The roles which we feel are very must in this space are the RPA sponsor in your organization who sees the value and also aligns with the business value or operational values. Let me just go back to this slide. You need to make sure that you have a sponsor who truly recognizes why do we need RPA in their organization and what value it will add. So RPA sponsor, then we think you need a COE who is truly caretaker of all the rest of the roles and the delivery of solutions from Center of Excellence. So the typical roles are business analyst, RPA developer, tester. If you are in Agile, I would look at it, Agile team as, RPA developer, tester, and I part one, so which is very important, and we always overlook that, is the business SME who understands your current business environment and able to articulate, what the humans are doing today, what steps do they take to execute on a particular business transaction and translate back into requirements which are very, very specific to RPA. A lot of business analysts try to write as if you're writing requirements for IT solution. I would say you need to elevate yourself and look for a little more go behind the scene of a human brain, a human mind, to see what action a person takes when they execute a business transaction, and you need to make sure robots are trained in the same way. So it's pretty much a typical, roles, SME from the business side, business analyst, RPA developer, tester, and then definitely DevOps side to make sure we have a clean deployment from segregation of duties for building, deploying, and testing and deploying in different environments. UiPath platform, you can come to our platform. We have an academy where we offer fairly large number of courses for all the roles I just mentioned.
Thanks, Vivek.
All the courses are free on our site.
Okay. Wonderful. And Vivek, interesting that you mentioned about Center of Excellence. We are seeing an increasing trend in companies where they are setting up automation and AI Center of Excellence. How do you see a company, what's the starting point when a company decides to set up a Center of Excellence? What are the top 2 or 3 things they have to do once they have identified the business drivers and they have got the sponsors? What's the next 3 steps for them to establish a good Center of Excellence on RPA?
Yeah, the disciplines are very similar to any IT solution, even though it is a less coding. But what I would say is, you must have a good business analyst who can document the requirements, keeping in mind this is a robot who's going to execute your business transaction. From the development side, we recommend from UiPath side, there are 3 levels of courses, and then level 1, level 2, level 3, and then the certification. And we find people who have done a certification or at least have passed all 3 courses are fairly ready for developing an enterprise solution. Automating without keeping in mind scalability, security, these are the solution side of it, not the product side of it. We want to make sure that people understand, or the developers understand, the capability of the product, and also, the solution you're building for enterprise. As I say many times, I give a very simple example to people. If you don't program your robots and not introduce enough machine learning in there, robot doesn't know if unexpected path is encountered. Humans, if a person is performing a transaction, if a specific, let's say, pop-up shows up, if they've never seen it before, they can pick up some hotline or support person to ask a question. What do I do now? I got this pop-up. However, if the same thing happens to a robot, unless you program it, a robot doesn't know what to do. It's just going to wait for some action to be taken. That's a very simple example, but this is a very powerful statement saying, you need to think how machine work, and if you don't program properly, they don't know what to do.
Right. I mean, that's some kind of consolation for us human. Hopefully, probably, one of the robots might be in this webinar and trying to assess what we are discussing and probably trying to improve itself. And Vivek, we have time for one last question. Before I ask the question, I would like to thank Vivek and the entire team of 1.21 GWS who have managed to run this webinar. 1.21 GWS is one of the largest RPA community in Americas, and we endeavor to bring the right information on RPA, bring the right thought leaders and the right kind of path for the industry. And please do visit us on rpaconferences.com to learn more about us. So the last question that we have, Vivek, is more from the education perspective. You mentioned that UiPath has a very elaborate 3-level training program, and after the course, somebody would be industry ready or project ready, as you said. One of the question is that what are the prerequisites for somebody who is a beginner? What are the prerequisites to learn RPA, or any of the tool? I mean, UiPath is one of the leader, but there are other tools. So what are the prerequisites? And those who are, in the testing world, so in order to be an RPA tester, what are the tools they have to experience or learn before they become, they can take up these courses from UiPath?
Yeah, what I say is, if you got an analytical mind, a programming, any programming background, whether you have done macros or you have done, VBA writing, or if you're coming from the testing side, like RFT, QTP, any of those tools, if you have used, I think those are, it comes back to is simply analytical mind, be able to analyze and take a bigger problem, divide it into smaller chunks so you can program. So I would say, if you have done any of the programming in the past, if you're coming from QA side, quality assurance testing side, RFT, QTP type of tools, I think should be sufficient to start learning RPA. And, you just join our level 1 course, try it out for a couple of days and see. And we have a product, community edition can be downloaded also free of cost. So you can test out your skills and see this is what you want to do. I think our platform is easy, simple, as well as a lot of training available online.
Wonderful. Thanks, Vivek, for the wonderful insights and all the questions that you took. Hopefully, it was interesting for the participants here. Just to, I would like to take the control of the presentation and would like to showcase some of the benefits of attending this webinar. One, of course, is that you get 25% discount on all the forthcoming conferences on robotic process automation that is listed at rpaconferences.com. Please do visit the website and see what you want to attend. Our next schedule is in Auckland, Chicago, Singapore, Bangalore, San Jose, Atlanta, New York, and Toronto. So this is over the next 2 months. We also have the best of the presentations, the top 10 presentations in RPA from various speakers of our industry that is available for free. So in case you are interested to get an access to those slides, you can write to us. This is, of course, we are not charging anything for those slides. We have recorded this webinar, and we will be sharing the links to access this webinar. We'll be probably loading it on YouTube as well. We once again thanks Vivek for taking out his time and sharing his experience, knowledge, and on RPA with all of us. I also thank all our participants who have joined, and those who couldn't join but they registered for this webinar. We will be sharing the presentation with you, the recordings with you. And in case you want to reach out to Vivek, please feel free to reach out to him. You can contact me, Nitesh. My email ID is nitesh@1.21gws.info. You can write back to us, and we'll be more than happy to connect you with Vivek in case you are not able to directly get in touch with Vivek. On that note, we would like to thank everyone for your time. It's close to 5 o'clock in Chicago, and we wish all of you a pleasant evening and, a great week ahead. Thanks once again, all of you, and we look forward to see you in our next webinar, conference, or training program. Thanks once again, Vivek.
Thank you very much, Nitesh, for giving me this opportunity.